Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record.
For the record.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 25th day of January 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust. That everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable, long holiday weekend. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. And we also want to remind you that the For the Record birthday shoutouts are proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice to you is to make the right decision for your family's future today. Make that right decision today for your family's future. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery as well. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and the management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, the phone lines are open. Beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. And of course, you would have heard her on National Heroes Day on Monday, live right here on Radio Cayman, carrying the proceedings, the ceremony, live to you on Radio Cayman as well. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Follow us on YouTube by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream, and you can also follow us on Facebook as well. So let's start with the birthday. Let's start with the birthdays. So we have here from Facebook, Bruce Wallace celebrating a birthday today, Roger Bugs Wilson, and Mr. Paul Borden celebrating. They're all celebrating birthdays today. Also, we have birthday greetings going out to Mr. Samuel Abel Powery, who will be celebrating his 85th birthday tomorrow as well. So we want to wish Mr. Samuel Abel Powery, Mr. Samuel Abel Powery, happy birthday when it comes tomorrow. And those birthday greetings are coming from all of his family, his entire family. They're coming from as well. So I also mentioned those persons who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility. And over the weekend, we did hear some distressing news about the Honorable W. McKeever Bush, and I will share with you. You probably may have heard this already. I'm sure that Radio Cayman News would have carried it as well. But this was issued on behalf of or from Mr. Bush. This was on the 23rd of January, which would have been Monday. And the statement reads, sent out to media partners. And it says that there was a statement attached, sent on behalf of Mr. Bush, Member of Parliament for West Bay West. Also pointed out that he would be sharing this statement on his social media pages afterward as well. And it reads, friends and family, I would like to use this opportunity to wish each and every one of you a happy Heroes Day. I would like to also offer heartfelt congratulations to all of the award recipients at today's ceremony. That's on Monday the 23rd. The first one I have not attended in all of the years since I created it 20 years ago. Unfortunately, for the past few weeks, I have not been feeling well, but the health and care of my wife took priority. This morning, I was taken to Health City. That is the morning of Monday, the 23rd of January. I was taken to Health City, and after a series of tests, the doctor extended my stay for observation. I am optimistic that I may be released later today. In the interim, I have been ordered to take 2 weeks of rest, and as such, will have very limited access to calls and visitors. With the above in mind, my office has canceled all of my engagements until further notice. If you have an issue that is important, please contact Miss Louisa Robinson or Miss Eva Tomlinson. And he gives the number 949-8660 between the hours of 9:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. The release goes on to say, hopefully, when I return to Health City later in the week, I will be given a clean bill of health and able to resume my services to the good people of West Bay and the wider Caymanian community. On a personal note, I encourage all of you to take your health seriously and hope that it is a part of your New Year's resolution. We only have one body. May God bless you. May God continue to bless these wonderful islands that we all call home. Yours in service, McKeever Bush. So here on For the Record and at Radio Cayman, we want to wish the Honorable W. McKeever Bush lots of rest, a speedy recovery. When I say recovery, in terms of the there's no specific illness that has been identified, just being stressed out. So we want to wish him a speedy, lots of rest, and a speedy return to service for his country, people of West Bay, and his family as well. So again, we hope and we trust that the Honorable McKeever Bush is up and going as soon as possible. So we've also been advised that one of my colleagues, former colleagues at Immigration, Miss Patricia Wilson, celebrating a birthday today as well. We want to wish Miss Patricia Wilson a happy birthday. Some of you may know her as Pat, Miss Pat Wilson, or under her maiden name, Miss Pat Forbes, as well. So also we have birthday greetings coming from birthday greetings going out to Judy Carter. Happy birthday, and coming from her mother, Miss Ruba Manderson, siblings, and the rest of the family. So Miss Judy Carter, happy birthday to you as well. And those birthday greetings are coming from your mom and the rest of the family. Your mom, Miss Ruby Manderson, and the rest of the family. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, For the Record will continue, so please stay tuned. We will be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Land ownership, like many societies, has been extremely important to the Cayman Islands. Outside of the land grants of 1735 to 1742, the traditional Caymanian method of acquiring land ownership was to claim, mark, work, and build on any unused tract of land. Although the informal system worked well in the earlier days, a more robust system was put into place, which would be to everyone's best interest. The Land Registration Act passed in September 1850, and an official registrar of lands was appointed. Former slaves were able to obtain title to their homes, and larger landowners obtained stronger titles, which permitted them to profit by selling surplus land. The system seems to have worked almost too well, as concerns regarding land ownership became virtually obsolete, and the relatively modest population size did not deplete land resources or create a competitive market. It would not be until 1960 that the land registrations would undergo significant change in order to keep pace with the influence of modern development.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
It's a brand brand new year, providing new opportunities in service to our Cayman Islands. We, Rotary Central, a premier voluntary NPO, join hands with you to fix things, make things better, improve on our way of life, give that helping hand, that shoulder to lean on, that push up the hill, clear that guiding path. This is Rotary Central, part of the circle that gets things done. Rotary, all the good you imagine.
I'm bossy with J and money. When I trip it easy, trust me. Yeah. Come on, just send some money. I instant entry. Look how you're lucky. Bossy, J and money, bossy. J and money, send you go a yard. Teen, bossy. Jamaica well bossy. 60 I'm bossy. We well proudy.
Celebrate Jamaica 60 with J and money for a chance to win a dream vacation for two to Jamaica, including airfare, resort stay, and more. Send money for a chance to win. Your loved ones will also be entered for a chance to win a brand new car. Competition runs from now until December 24th. J and money 60 and bossy enough.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at J and Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
Bossy, Jamaica well bossy. 60 I'm bossy.
No J and bank account required.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
They say you only live once. I say you only die once. But you live every day. I'm Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, longtime supporter of Radio Cayman. Live your life, my friends. Happiness is in the journey, not the destination. When you're ready, I'm here to support you with the best financial decisions for your family's future. Cayman Insurance Center, protecting you and your family so you can take back your future. I'm Michael Webster, the sure way to protect your family. Call me when you're ready at 925-5433. Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets.
Think life insurance.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. And you just heard that advert by Mr. Michael Webster as well, who's the proud sponsor of the For the Record birthday shout-outs. And Mr. Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center. He also reminds you to make the right decision for your family's future today. So we have a youngster here, 1-year-old Aria Eloisa Smith. And happy birthday greetings coming going to her from her grand, mom, dad, auntie, and her great-grandparents with lots of love. So that's Aria Eloisa Smith. Happy birthday to you as well. Miss Susan, what we're going to do is I have about 9 minutes to go before we go to our news at 8 o'clock. And I want to share the government release on the Heroes Day celebrations. I'm sure that many people had the opportunity to attend, well attended, also to follow it on CIG TV as well as live on Radio Cayman, hosted by Miss our own Miss Susan Watson and Miss Shanda Gallego as well. So this is a release coming from the government. The Cayman Islands celebrate volunteerism and charitable services. Heroes Square was filled with Caymanian pride on Monday, the 23rd of January, 2023, to celebrate the 20th National Heroes Day in Cayman Islands history. For the Grand Cayman Awards ceremony, Honorable Premier G. Wayne Panton emphasized the meaning of National Heroes Day, saying, and I quote, "Each year we pause as a nation to remember those who have gone before us, our early pioneers paving the way to the prosperity, the stability, and harmony we enjoy in the Cayman Islands. These heroes are integral to our collective history, and their exploits should be heralded in our homes, schools, and visitors' guidebooks. Their selflessness, kindness, and love of country have created a roadmap for success that we can and should follow to preserve the most beautiful parts of our culture and people. This year's ceremony was the first full-scale National Heroes Day event since COVID-19 restrictions have been lifted in the Cayman Islands. As a result, attendees saw the complete scope of National Heroes Day celebratory activities, including a parade representing the uniformed services and local club organizations, the flag processional featuring students from the various local schools, and the ceremonial wreath laying at the monuments in Heroes Square. The event was well attended in support of all the honorees and comfortable due to the slightly overcast skies and cool breezes. This year's theme, volunteerism and charitable services, honored over 200 volunteers, 10 charitable organizations, and one philanthropist in a ceremony filled with national applause for their exemplary services to the Cayman Islands. Among these persons were 70 early pioneers, categorized as any individual alive or deceased who founded or made an exceptional contribution to the development of voluntary services in the Cayman Islands prior to 1980. There were also 124 pioneers honored for making exceptional contribution for over 20 years to voluntary services within the Cayman Islands. Mrs. Susan A. Oldie received the sole philanthropic honor for making donations exceeding $1 million to charitable services in the Cayman Islands. In the charitable organizations category, award went to Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Cayman Islands, Cayman Islands branch of the Guide Association, Girl Guides Cayman Islands Meals on Wheels, Cayman Islands Red Cross, Rotary Central Cayman Islands, Rotary Club of Grand Cayman, Special Olympics Cayman Islands, Cayman Islands Cancer Society, Girls Brigade in the Cayman Islands Limited, and the Lions Club of Grand Cayman for exceptional contributions to the development, enhancement, safety, and well-being of the community in the Cayman Islands for more than 20 years. I am extremely proud to join you on the 20th anniversary of National Heroes Day, shared Minister for Youth, Culture, and Heritage, Honorable Bernie Bush. Under the theme of volunteerism and charitable services, we recognize the commitment that volunteers and not and not-for-profit organizations have shown to our community. These individuals give of their time, energy, and talents for free, all for the betterment of these 3 islands home. As is customary, the Honorable Premier announced the National Heroes Day theme for the coming year. And the quote, I quote, "As we celebrate our proud past and look to a hopeful future, I am pleased to announce the theme for our 2024 Heroes Day celebration. That theme is celebrating our cultural artists and creatives. We look forward to showing appreciation for the talented individuals and groups who keep our colorful heritage alive while preserving Caymanian culture and artistic expression." So that ends that release as well. Now, I'm going to make one comment here. We note the award received by Mrs. Susan Oldie, given to charitable organization. Now, there are other entities within the Cayman Islands who do give to charitable organizations, and they may not have been represented here. Some do it and prefer to remain anonymous as well. But folks, there are persons within our community who have tons and tons and tons of money that they will not be able to expend in their own lifetime, or if they were able to buy 10 lifetimes with the money that they have, they still would not exhaust it. But yet, the one person that we could give recognition to, Miss Susan Oldie, because a lot more of them, and excuse the expression, but some of them have more money than the saying that people say they have more money than God, but they do not want to let go of that money and pay it forward to help others. They just want to hold on to it. And we should have seen more persons nominated in this category or recognized in this category if they were to put their money where their mouth is, realizing that they can't take it with them and they cannot buy another life with it, no matter how much they would love to be on this planet forever. They can't do that, and they can't be there as well. So I just want to say, shame on those of you who are out there who hate up the big corporations, hate up the huge law firms that are making so much money in the Cayman Islands. Some of you, like I say, give back and remain anonymous. Some of you don't give at all. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. When we return, we're going to have a young Caymanian in the studio with us, Dr. Melanie Moore Fernandez, a young Caymanian veterinarian here in the studio with us. So we look forward to having a conversation with her. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and airport stores are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. His Excellency the Governor Martin Roper attended New York for Cayman Finance's Financial Services breakfast briefing. He said excellent speeches were made by Team Cayman from the Financial Services Minister, the Managing Director of CEMA, Cayman's new representative at the Cayman Washington office, Chris Duggan, and CEO of Cayman Finance, who organized his first New York breakfast briefing since taking over last year. The governor reiterated his support and that of the United Kingdom for Cayman's well-regulated, legally compliant, highly efficient, and professional services industry. Cayman Finance also hosted a reinsurance roundtable on Tuesday. The delegation is next traveling to Washington to formally open the Washington office and meet British embassy staff as the office begins its work. Inspectors with the Office of Education Standards judged Red Bay Primary as satisfactory. The report says the acting principal had, quote, clear priorities and was committed to bringing about the improvements needed in the school. Student behavior, positive attitudes, and safety in the primary phase remained good. Support and guidance had improved and were now good. The report says in a number of areas, however, Red Bay School's performance had declined. These included attainment in all subjects for reception, student learning, the curriculum, and self-evaluation and improvement planning. The report says attainment in science is now weak. Recommendations regarding improvements in attainment and progress had been met for mathematics, but not for English and science. The full report can be found online at oes.gov.ky. A notice for those interested in weighing in on Cayman's infrastructure projects. CIGTV's Simon Boxall reports.
The National Roads Authority has published a notice for upcoming public consultation opportunities regarding the environmental impact assessment for the east-west arterial extension. The terms of reference for this project will be made available on the Department of Environment's website. That's www.doe.gov.ky, and you can review it there. Draft terms of reference will also be available at specified locations. For more information, visit the National Roads Authority website at www.caymanroads.com.
In regional news, Mexico's Supreme Court ruled Tuesday that the armed forces does not have to advise civilian police when they make an arrest. The issue is a sensitive one because Mexico's military is supposed to be participating in civilian law enforcement only to support police. But the court ruled Tuesday that soldiers can make an arrest without telling police as long as they eventually register the arrest in a computer system that civilian agencies use. The armed forces have frequently been accused of violating human rights, but Mexico's underpaid, antiquated police forces can't handle the country's well-armed drug cartels alone. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz has confirmed that his government will provide Ukraine with Leopard 2 battle tanks and allow other countries to do likewise. Mr. Scholz said Germany would deliver 14 of the vehicles as a first step. US officials have indicated that Washington will also send tanks to Ukraine. President Zelensky's chief of staff has welcomed Germany's decision, describing it as a first step. Berlin's announcement has also been welcomed by allies, including Poland, France and Britain. North Korea is reported to have ordered a 5-day lockdown in the capital Pyongyang because of what it calls a respiratory illness. The government's notice does not mention COVID by name. Tanzania's opposition has returned from self-imposed exile 6 years after surviving an assassination attempt. Tundu Lissu said he decided to go home because of the lifting of a ban on opposition political rallies earlier this month. Thousands of opposition supporters in South Africa have gathered in central Johannesburg to protest against frequent power cuts. They blame the governing ANC for the problem, accusing it of corruption. Internet users around the world have complained they're unable to access some of Microsoft's applications. They include the messaging service Teams and Outlook email. Japan is being battered by one of its worst winter storms in years. Hundreds of flights were cancelled and heavy snowfall left thousands of passengers trapped on trains overnight. Australia has come under increasing pressure to deny a visa to the American rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West. In recent months, he's made comments attacking Jewish people and praising Adolf Hitler. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
Healthcare Pharmacy, caring about your health for the past 25 years. Radio Cayman's premier health show.
Alzheimer's and dementia, are they the same disorder?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question.
For the Health of It with Tara Bush. For the Health of It with Tara Bush.
Is heard on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. and on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Brought to you by Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor, where they care about your health. Transfer and refill your prescription online. Visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or call 947-8900. Healthcare Pharmacy now with a new and second location in Governor's Square. The new Healthcare Pharmacy in Governor's Square is open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Healthcare Pharmacy, where they care about your health.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 76 degrees. Relative humidity is 90%. The barometric pressure, 29.99 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 5 knots. Overnight low temperature was 75 degrees. Synopsis indicate moderate winds and seas will continue over the Cayman Islands for the next couple of days as a high-pressure system dominates the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers around the Cayman area moving towards the west. Now the forecast for today and tonight calling for partly cloudy skies with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures today will be in the mid-80s and will fall to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. High tide will be this afternoon at 12:25 and a low tide tonight at 5 minutes after 7. The sun will set this evening at 6:13 and will rise tomorrow morning at 2 minutes past 7. And the outlook is calling for a slight increase in cloudiness and showers from tomorrow afternoon as a weak surface trough moves through the Cayman area. That's the very latest on your weather report.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking, change your life, inspire others to bring out the leader in you.
By the words of motivational speaker and author Simon Sinek, author of Leaders Eat Last, Why Some Teams Pull Together and Others Don't. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader.
Change your thinking, change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman. Health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning, and as I look to the cameras, I feel for you this morning if you're coming from the east. Heavy traffic on Shamrock Road and coming off of Rex Crichton Boulevard. Delays expected. As you approach the Linford Pearson Highway, traffic also busy. Busy traffic on Cool Road heading to Georgetown. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, traffic is busy as well. And as we look to Esterly Tibbetts Highway, traffic busy and moderate flow of traffic on Godfrey Nixon Way and Easton Avenue. Coming off of the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way, traffic is busy. And as we look to Owen Roberts Drive, traffic is moving along pretty good. Coming from the West Bay 4-way stop, moderate flow of traffic. As we look to downtown Georgetown on Edward Street, traffic flowing pretty good. And out of Georgetown on Shedden, not looking too bad. Into Georgetown on Shedden Road, moderate flow of traffic. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Remember, click it or ticket.
When you're craving something big, something tasty that gives you that lip-smacking satisfaction, something that hits the spot, there is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
It's pretty tasty.
Filling and full of flavor. Try our new sweet onion steak teriyaki with a twist. Or the classic chicken teriyaki. Top it with green pepper, onions, cheese, and that sweet onion teriyaki sauce, all piled on your favorite artisanal bread. Satisfy that craving with a footlong from Subway.
Fresh, delicious, tasty, meaty.
Let's make it a meal with a drink, chips, and cookies. There is nothing better than a footlong from Subway.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. At Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Before I introduce my guests, I just want to repeat one more time for the family of Miss Aria Eloisa Smith. Aria Eloisa Smith, who's celebrating her first birthday today, and the birthday greetings coming from her grand, mom, dad, auntie, and her great-grandparents with lots of love. So, Aria Eloisa Smith, 1 year old today, and if you're awake, you may be listening to it. Only 1 year old, so not sure how much you can understand, but your family wishes you a happy birthday, your family, coming from your family, and they're extremely proud of you as well. So, folks, in the studio with me this morning, I have the pleasure of talking with Miss Dr. Melanie Moore Fernandez. During the course of the interview, you will hear her refer to me as Uncle O.C. probably. She asked me, well, you know, what should I call you in the show? I said, call me whatever you want to. She'll refer to me as Uncle O.C. See, you see, down in the big yard on Schoolhouse Road, all of the kids refer to the adults as uncle. And while there may be some blood relationship between some, the close relation, and we treat everyone as family. So that is why you will hear some of the younger ones refer to all of us as uncle or aunt or whatever. So it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Dr. Melanie Moore Fernandez, young Caymanian veterinarian, and I'm not going to say anymore because I'm going to give her an opportunity to introduce herself, to talk about her background, her schooling here in the Cayman Islands, where she is today, and where she plans on being in the future as well. So, Dr. Mel, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. I know we've spoken on the phone before, but this is the first opportunity that we've had to have you in person in the studio as well. So welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Cayman. It is certainly great to be back and escape the snow in Canada. You know, there's no place like home. Thank you, Uncle O.C., for that introduction. So I am a proud Caymanian, born and raised here. In terms of my schooling, I attended St. Ignatius Catholic School from KG all the way until sixth form. After I finished, I went off to Wales in the United Kingdom and Aberystwyth University, where I got my bachelor's in animal science. And then after that, I went over to Canada, Ontario, Canada, where I attended the University of Guelph, and that's where I got my Doctor of Veterinary Medicine degree. So I'm a fairly new grad. I graduated in 2021. It was a very interesting period, to say the least, because it was around where the pandemic hit. So there were certainly some accommodations that needed to be made in my final year, but nonetheless, I made it, and I'm here, and I'm so grateful to be here and chatting with you this morning.
Excellent, excellent. Your experiences, let's talk about some of your experiences and, you know, the challenges that you would have encountered while training, you know, for your profession as well. The assistance that you got here in the Cayman Islands and the scholarships. We know that your dad is heavily invested in you, not only emotionally, you know, but financially as well. You know, he has, you know, given you all the support that he could possibly do. Let's speak a little bit about that.
Absolutely. And to preface this, I am certainly a daddy's girl. So for those of you that don't know, my father is Alan Moore, otherwise known as Haha, and my mom is Lorna Walton. I am so grateful to have two incredible parents that have supported me on this journey from the beginning. You know, coming into this profession and wanting to pursue this degree, there's certainly some financial constraints. And I always say that I'm incredibly grateful for the government scholarship because they made it possible for me to go abroad and get this education. So, you know, in terms of some of the experiences, I think something that is so incredible as a young Caymanian is to travel the world. You know, growing up on this small island, you know, there's certain things that we don't get in terms of experiences and opportunities. So having my parents and the support of the government, which allowed me to go abroad for schooling, certainly changed my mindset. And I realized that I want to continue to take advantage of as many opportunities that I can. My overall goal, now that I'm still in Canada, is always to come back home because I feel like there's no place like home, but I want to be able to maximize those opportunities and those skills so that I can bring that back home and integrate that in our society.
Okay. Now, and I know that during your holidays from school, you returned to Cayman and you worked. There was a local organization, a local entity that assisted you, gave you the exposure as well. Want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Dr. Brenda Bush at Island Veterinary Services, my veterinary mentor. So At the age of 14, I started volunteering with her, and then I was hired part-time, so after high school, on the weekends, I would continue to work with her. Going into this field, and I know we've discussed this before, mentorship is crucial. Dr. Brenda has mentored so many Caymanians throughout the years, and I'm so grateful to have had her by my side, because having somebody to assist you on this journey and encourage you through, some of the hardships has been an incredible point to where I'm at right now. So, from 14 until I graduated, and even when I was at university, I would continue to come back and work with her. We did a lot of community events. We did a lot of spay and neuter events. We did a lot of vaccine clinics. So one thing that I always tell people, something that is extremely important for me, is I have these skills and I've developed this skill set. How can I integrate that in my Caymanian community? There is a need for vets, for sure. There is a need for accessibility of veterinary care. We do have a high stray population of cats and dogs. So being able to come back and help and do community events is something that is extremely important to me. And I always thank her for giving me that opportunity to start working with her and continuing to encourage me along this journey as well.
Okay. Now, we know that when you were young, you were always passionate about animals. What drove you, into the field of veterinary medicine?
That's a really good question, because Dad was always like, oh, Melope, you should be a politician. And I said, okay, Dad, we'll see. One day, maybe. Maybe that's, further down the line. But I think for me, I always had a special connection with animals. When I would go visit family down in Rockwool, Dad will tell you, I was always climbing under, the house and taking the puppies out or looking for the chickens. So I think that both parents saw that I was very keen about working with animals. And from a young age, I certainly verbalized that to them, and especially seeing the need. Something that I don't think we think of often is that human-animal bond. And now that I'm older and practicing, I really see the impact that animals have on people, especially in terms of mental health. So growing up on an island where I was surrounded by absolutely every type of species, and having two supportive parents and a great mentor, it only made that journey and that vision of becoming a veterinarian a lot easier for me, because it's something that I was extremely passionate about. And despite some of the hardships and barriers I may have faced, the support allowed me to continue on to pursue what I truly love to do.
Okay. Now, in the early days, veterinary services in the Cayman Islands was mainly restricted to the government.
Yes.
And we had a chief agricultural officer who, in the majority of instances, also was a veterinarian as well. We have seen the scope of veterinary services expand in the Cayman Islands. Can you talk a little bit about the whole, the perception that some persons have about veterinary services? It's just limited, to pets, cats and dogs, and other pets that you have, but here in the Cayman Islands, we're seeing more and more of it. Now there are concerns about, the various species of birds that we have, concerns about our iguana population, as well. Let's talk about the expansion of veterinary services in the Cayman Islands. And then after that, I want to talk about your exposure overseas. I know that you have been to several jurisdictions to offer voluntary service after you graduated from school or even before, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. I want to focus on the Cayman Islands, and you spoke about the need for veterinary services here, but there may be some persons who may believe that just like some other fields, that Caymanians may be a little bit more pressed simply because of the fact that we do have expatriates who come here on work permits, within specific fields, thus making it a little more difficult for Caymanians to occupy those fields, or even someone wishing to return to the Cayman Islands to be involved in a particular feel, making it more difficult because of the competition that they will have from persons who are non-Caymanian.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of dissect this into parts. So the first, I'll talk about kind of veterinary services and the perception. So I think when, we tell people, we're in the veterinary field, we're veterinarians, the first thing that they always think of is dogs and cats, right? That's what people know of veterinarians. But there's so much more to that, especially from an agricultural standpoint. Vets play a crucial role in, the slaughter process, in pre-exams before slaughter, the meat that we are eating to ensure that it's healthy, and even after slaughter in terms of inspecting that meat and ensuring that it's safe for consumption. I feel like that part of veterinary medicine isn't advertised as much as, the cats and the dogs. Another great mentor and a fabulous veterinarian here is Dr. Samantha Dorman, who works for the Department of Agriculture, a fantastic and a phenomenal Caymanian that I've had the pleasure to work with. And throughout the years, I've continued to watch her in her role and through my volunteer work that I did with the Department of Agriculture back in the day. I don't necessarily deal with large animals in agriculture, but I think having that exposure and still understanding the important role that a veterinarian will play in that aspect was very interesting and important for me to develop on my journey. I think in terms of veterinary medicine, especially now, it's been a very expansive profession. So, for example, with the COVID-19 outbreak, veterinarians played a huge role, especially at my university in Guelph. They were recruiting a lot of the top disease specialists because they were really trying to understand the connection of transmission from humans to cats and dogs and vice versa, if there were a connection. And through some of the research that we did, we found that animals, cats and dogs, were actually getting COVID from humans, but were remaining asymptomatic, so not showing any clinical signs, and they were unable to transmit the disease back to humans. So that's just another kind of example of how veterinarians play a big role, especially in something like a pandemic. In terms of, Caymanians and wanting to pursue veterinary medicine, I think right now the biggest struggle is, we certainly are a saturated market here in terms of the veterinary clinics that we have, the population, and the need to have more vets. I do see the difficulty when I have Caymanians contacting me and expressing this concern of, okay, I want to go and pursue this, but I don't know if I have a guaranteed job when I come back. And I think that's a valid concern. I don't necessarily have the solution or answer to that, but I do think it's something that we need to consider because I find more and more students from the Cayman Islands are saying, I want to go off and pursue veterinary medicine, but they don't have that guarantee of a job having to come back. And they may have to end up staying abroad, even if it's something they may not want to do. So I think especially now with times changing and there is definitely more interest of the veterinary profession, I feel like it's something that we need to really look at in terms of the amount of expatriates that we have practicing here as well. And, we need to look at the young Caymanians that want to go off and want to come back and practice in our community. So I urge further discussions about that because I do see that there is certainly a gap and then there's a worry for job security as well.
Okay, that's a good point for us to take a commercial break. Some may think that that's a controversial point, but it is a reality as well. And this is what our young Caymanians are facing in this country. Some people don't want to talk about it. Some people don't like to talk about it. Some people believe that it's anti-expatriate when we talk about it, but it's not being anti-expatriate, it's being pro-Caymanian. Folks, with that, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
We need to talk. Okay. We've noticed you've been going to KFC a lot more than usual lately. And
that's fine. We know you love it.
We just don't understand how you can afford it.
The KFC What a Deal menu starting at just $3.50 gives you lots of great choices and value. Available at KFC Baytown Plaza, Shudden Road, and in the Strand. The KFC What a Deal value menu. The deal everyone should know about. Come to KFC and enjoy a variety of tasty choices at surprising prices.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
It's time to update your information. If you've recently changed your mailing address, phone number, or email address, please let your Water Authority customer service team know. Remember, non-receipt of a bill does not constitute a release from liability for payment. Visit our website, www.waterauthority.ky, to download and fill out our customer information update form. Or you can contact our customer service team at info@waterauthority.ky or call 949-2837.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have in the studio with us this morning Dr. Mel Moore, Haha, and Lorna's daughter. I'm going to say it like that. Keep it K-Mania. Haha and Lorna's daughter here in the studio with us this morning. We do have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning.
Dr. Mel.
Good morning, Aunt Carrie.
Surprise, you're home. Hi, sweetheart. Welcome home. So glad to see you and glad to hear your voice. You're back home for a little bit, I guess. Anyways, your Aunt Carrie's on a rush going to Spot Bay because she's just found out that someone, either the DOE or the DOA, are setting poison and killing your grandmother's familiar cat colony that we've been feeding for years. And I'm rushing up there because one of them has just died and I need to go and deal with this for her. And this is ridiculous. The killing of the harmless cats, calling them ferals when in fact a lot of these cats in the yards and Spot Bay are not ferals. They're familiars. They don't go anywhere. Majority are fixed, and they're stopping you from fixing them now, Mel. You hear that? No veterinary doctor can fix a cat that is going to be released back outside. You have to keep it indoors. Many cats don't want to be indoors. Some want to be outside, and once you fix them, is what I have found, they do not roam. They stay within their territory once they're being fed, and we have no problem feeding them. Everybody feeds their yard cats. That's the problem. That's the issue here. They're going to come into your yard and now kill your yard cats because if they're not fixed, you can't go get them fixed now because they'll take away the veterinary doctor's license if they fix the cat and release it.
So caller, the focus is no longer on the stray ones, but those that have also been domesticated?
Yes, sir. They can now walk into your yard under this regulation, and that is my understanding, and take your yard cats out of your yard and euthanize them if they're not microchipped or fixed. And then you can't go and fix them because you would have to, if you're going to go fix them now, you got to put them inside your house. How many people who have colonies of 40 or so out in their yards that they've been feeding that are, majority are fixed, and they can't put that many cats in their home, inside their house. Not everybody got that size of house to do that. That's just absolutely the most ridiculous policy I've ever heard of. You know, and then if you try to stop them, they will arrest you, charge you, and throw you in front of a judge and jail. I don't understand what is wrong with our government. Why are they being so wicked to these cats that are harmless? You know, they kept making this propaganda about it was hundreds of cats up by the lighthouse, Mr. Connor and Mel. that was killing the booby bird eggs and the baby booby birds and stuff. Come to find out they only culled five get caught up there, and your Aunt Titi goes up to that lighthouse every single day of her life at various times, looking night and day, looking for all these hundreds of feral cats that they claim are they're killing these booby eggs and booby birds. And I don't find one yet. Not one. And I've been here almost 2 years. So it's this big propaganda of false information being fed to the government. And I don't know why they're doing that. Why would they feed false information to cull these cats? We don't know how way overpopulation of cats. It's all cosmetic as far as I'm concerned, because certain persons don't want to see a wild cat walk through their yard or come begging for food at their door. What? Just feed the animal. Don't you realize how much blessings will come to you when you feed an animal like that? That's why the Egyptians worshipped cats, because they were blessings to their households and blessings to them, and we are up here killing them? Really? By lethal injection at the Department of Agriculture building in Spot Day, which is condemned now almost 5 years, and the staff up there slowly dying from the mold. But they can't move them out of there and put them somewhere temporary. What kind of department we have? How mismanaged is that? You got your employees. One just quit. She couldn't be bothered. She left and went back to Grand because she couldn't work in that environment anymore and got another job. That's the situation up here. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm going to fight for the lives of these cats, and they need to stop killing them, because they're not killing the boobies and they're not killing any iguanas. It's humans doing it. I got enough videos of people swerving on the road to kill a rock iguana. And we see on YouTube, there's a GoPro video up there of someone climbing the bluff where they mashed up the booby and bosun eggs on the videos coming up the bluff climbing. So it's not cats doing it, sir. It is not the cats doing it. They need to stop lying. And the premier needs to stop believing the lies and stop the cat cull. Stop it. Because I'm going to pave a very rocky road for his re-election. He ain't going to like it.
Okay, caller, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to give Dr. Mel Moore an opportunity to respond. Quite a delicate balance, to achieve.
I know
we
spoke about this briefly, because it's a very controversial subject. My personal opinion of it, as a small animal veterinarian, I'm completely against it. And I think it's something that it really hurts my heart because, as a young Caymanian, growing up, working for Island Vet, Dr. Brenda was always heavily involved in community work, which I mentioned before. She went to the BRAC very frequently to do appointments, surgeries and whatnot, and she's very passionate about spaying and neutering. Now, we understand that we have a stray cat issue. We understand that. Yeah. But you have organizations like Feline Friends that have worked tirelessly to catch these cats, spay and neuter them, and return them. So there's been a lot of research out there that says cats can live fine outdoors in colonies, and there are a lot of dedicated individuals that will continue to feed them. And once they're being fed and they have that security, they won't necessarily hunt. They may do it occasionally, but if they have, a stable diet that they're getting fed, a lot of the times they won't. And a lot of that research we've seen coming out of Canada as well with some of the work and the organizations that I've been doing. So after so many years of continuing to spay and neuter and to try to, somewhat either flatten the curve or almost decrease the curve of strays, hearing this and having this come out, I was shocked. And I was very disappointed that there wasn't more input from the local small animal veterinarians on island. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but when I did talk to Dr. Brenda about this, because this is something that we were both deeply upset with, she was not involved in those conversations. And she, she's very transparent and open about that, especially after dedicating so many years to being a part of this initiative. So, I don't really, I think it's kind of biased right now in the sense that we don't have a representative here from the government to kind of hear their perspective, but just kind of from what I'm seeing from a party point of view, it's I don't agree with it, and I feel like more conversations need to be had from a community perspective so that the community can understand the true need for this, show the facts, show the statistics, and also from a veterinary perspective. I feel that those conversations are vital, especially with the practicing vets on island, because at the end of the day, having them discuss some of the issues that they see from a practical standpoint, I think is valuable to the government going forward with any sort of decision that directly involves dogs and cats. And then on top of that, saying that as a veterinarian, you cannot continue to participate in trap and release spay and neuter, or your license will be taken away.
That's sort of draconian, huh?
I felt like as veterinarians, we took an oath. And part of that oath is providing the best medical care that we can for animals. Part of that, in terms of all of this, is welfare. By spaying and neutering, studies have shown that we can certainly flatten that curve of the amount of stray cats that continue to repopulate. So not being able to do that, especially living on an island where we certainly see the benefits of spay and neuter, and saying that you're going to get your license taken away, it honestly angers me. And I really do urge the government to involve the local veterinarians more in this decision-making process going forward, because I don't think that this is the solution. And I do feel that more conversations need to be had before you implement something like this, because from a public's perspective on the global scale, when I was discussing this with some of my colleagues, it doesn't look favorably on the Cayman Islands. And I think there's a lot of questions that come up in regards to animal welfare, because in a lot of other countries, this would certainly not even be able to pass as a motion. So I think there's certainly further discussions that need to be had, but that's just kind of my input on where I see things.
Certainly. Thank you very much for that. We have a caller on hold, but let's do it this way, Ms. Susan. Let's take the commercial break, and then we take the caller after. Caller, hang in there. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we return, we will take your call, so please stay tuned.
JN Money touchdown. Send the money now. Reach wow. You say you need some money. JN Money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash, or use a money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah. Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Cayman Arts Festival 2023, from New York to London, landing in Cayman. 8 landmark events, global music on the island's stage. On Thursday, February 2nd, 7 p.m. at the Harkwell Theatre, hailing from the Big Apple jazz pianists and top jazz and cabaret performer John Webber joins our very own Caymanian Benil Miller. Tickets are available at www.caymanartsfestival.com. For more information, call 922-5550 or email inquiries@caymanartsfestival.com. John Webber and Benil Miller, Thursday, February 2nd, 7 p.m. at the Harkwell Theatre.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Dr. Mel Moore, Lorna and Haha's daughter, right here in the Cayman Islands. She currently resides in Canada, but she will be back home, someday. Conditions have to be right, and she has to, there's more that she wants to achieve before she returns home as well. As a matter of fact, one of the questions that I will have for her, is what's the big picture down the line? As far as a veterinarian is concerned, how far can you go in the whole profession? How far can you go with this? Can you get into the area of research and things of that nature as well, and see where she's headed? We know she has a passion, for animals, but that I'm sure that there are various ways of converting that passion into work, other than just being underground as well. But let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you both.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Lorna Bush, and in the first instance, I just want to say a huge congratulations to Dr. Mel. I've known her ever since she was a little girl, and I can tell you, I've never known anyone who knew what they wanted to do from such an early age and stuck with it.
Yep.
She is absolutely an example of determination and success, huge success. She should be a role model for those coming up, because I also happen to know it involved a lot of sacrifices from her parents and herself. So having said that, I won't take up too much of your time, but congrats, Dr. Mel, and I'd love to see you before you leave. Now, speaking about the cats, I have a problem with this, because the animal fanatics, I'm calling them now, not the animal lovers, they're different. The fanatics who have determined that a booby is worth more than a cat. And I wonder how they can come up with that. I thought an animal's life is an animal's life, be it a bird or what. And I've just returned from Cayman Brass, having had quite a stay there. I never saw one cat, and I was actually disappointed, because cats used to come around my place, and I liked that. Because if they don't realize it, you can tell them that cats play an important role. They are the rodent controllers. I'd rather see cats any day than rats. And as long as the cats were around my area, I would feed them, and I thought that I'm rewarding these cats because they're keeping the rodents down. I'm not saying that I mightn't be interested in boobies, but really not so much. Other than, as children, we used to watch them flying in the evenings, because they're great fishers, and they would go way down to the west of the island and fish. And evening time, we would sit on the iron shore and watch them flying home back to their nest up at the end of the bluff. But exactly what role is the booby bird playing in our community and our economy, or what, that it warrants destroying cats? And I do not see an overpopulation of cats in human park. I don't know every single spot and where they gather. I mean, I have to admit, but if there was such an overpopulation, I think it would be evident at just, going through the island. I go from one end of the island to the next, sometimes more than once a day, and I don't see it, and I don't know what has brought this on, but I have a feeling that it's probably one particular individual who just feels that they can wield their power, and it's just not right, and I'll leave it there. But when rodents take over the island, then government will have to pay for rodent control, and I guess that, Anyway, you all have a wonderful day. Mel, I really hope I can get to see you, because, I'm a big fan of yours from way back when.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Mel, you want to respond?
Yeah. So, Miss Lorna, I just wanted to say, thank you so much for your kind words. I am incredibly appreciative of all the support that you've continued to show me over the years throughout, my high school journey, throughout my university journey. So thank you so much. And I do think that you bring up some really good points. I'm not necessarily going to touch on the issue of the booby birds, but I will say this. I think something that we're lacking in all of this is facts and data. I think we still just have anecdotal kind of research kind of out there. We don't have any preliminary data showing us the facts. And I think that's very detrimental when you're putting something like this going forward and having that propaganda out there, but the data and the research is still lacking. I heard from your account, I heard from my Aunt Carrie's account as well, that the BRAC itself doesn't necessarily look like there's an overpopulation of stray cats. So I'm just very curious to know from a government perspective how they are making these decisions when there's no data that has been released on the need of doing this cull.
Yeah, the only one of the things that they have said, they've spoken about the population of the brown booby. Now, whether or not it can be solely attributed to stray cats,
Yes.
or there are other factors involved, like you said, the data. Unless you're provided with that, it's difficult to know. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, we have some other callers. Let's grab the callers. Next caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you now?
Good, and good morning to the beautiful Dr. Mel.
Good morning.
It was so nice to see you on Monday Light.
Yeah.
And being around you, and there with your dad. And I too would like to congratulate you on your achievements, and we can't wait for you to come home and be with us and be one of us in the community and show great examples for other young people to follow. So I can tell you that your dad and all the friends that I know that gather around him is also really, really, really proud of you. So, congratulations again.
Thank you, Mr. Graham.
Because I know you're leaving sometime soon.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. I always told you that I'm so appreciative for your support, especially for everything that you have done for my father over the years. It's certainly difficult being away from family and going abroad and trying to capitalize on these opportunities. But knowing that my dad is in such good hands, he has so many great friends, Uncle Osi, yourself. There's so many others that I'm so grateful for that have all played such a pivotal role in me growing up here as well. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Sure, okay. Safe travels if I don't see you before you leave.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you, Lord Graham, for that. Before we go to the next caller, I'll read one WhatsApp message that we received as well. Person says, I think there is a cat problem, and the caller is not acknowledging that the damage that stray cats do. Place the blame on the cat owners who let their cats go and don't spay or neuter. Person goes on to say, I was just in Cayman Brac and saw 4 cats in the parrot reserve. The good thing is that they were all neutered or spayed, as they had their ears clipped. They all looked fit and fat, and I made a joke that they are getting their fill of fresh bird every day. That all said, my son and I also love cats, even though we are both allergic to them. While I believe control is good and it is important to ensure they do not overpopulate, my son does not agree to culling them. So I want to thank that listener for sharing. If I'll let you read it as well. So if there are any points that you want to comment on this later on, Dr. Mel, you can. Let's grab another caller before we go to the news. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller.
Hello?
Good morning.
Morning. Am I on the air?
Yes, you are.
Morning, OC. This is my first time calling your show.
Okay, good. Hope it's not the last.
I love it. I just want to put in my 2 cents. Where I live, right, OC, I have a lot of stray cats. And I use the bait boxes almost year-round. And I have to rebait them every month. So when people come online and say, well, the cats help with the rodent problem, they really don't. The cats have evolved to the point where they want to find the easiest meal with the less amount of effort. And whether that be going through your garbage or the booby birds. That's what people need to realize. I mean, it's not fact, but it's an observation. I just want to put in my 2 cents.
But what about we've heard situations where people actually feed the cats, and I'll have Dr. Mel comment on that while you stay on the line in terms of if the cats are fed, or certain animals in general, if they're fed, where they're likely to gravitate towards. Dr. Mel, you want to comment on that?
So, just from kind of like my experience and what I've seen in terms of cat colonies, if they are in a stable environment where they don't necessarily need to compete for food and somebody's going out and feeding them regularly, we found that from some of the research that they won't necessarily gravitate outside of that colony to hunt for food. However, saying that, we know that they are natural born predators. So I'm not trying to downplay the fact that they are never going to hunt because it's an instinct for them. I would be curious to know from organizations on island that have so many different colonies that they feed, what they've found in terms of the hunting. Like, do they find that some of these cat colonies are still going out hunting chickens, hunting birds? Because, just from my experience, I haven't necessarily seen that be as big of an issue as a cat colony that's not having, someone dedicated to feeding them. Saying that, I think the caller still brings up some valid concerns, because at the end of the day, with a population of cats that are predators, you are certainly going to get hunting that will be involved in that. It's inevitable, even if they are being fed. As I said, this discussion is very interesting because there's points for both sides. And I think what would be more valuable is having a roundtable discussion with the different parties that will all be involved in kind of making the decisions on where to go forward with this. Because I do see it from, especially the farmers that have lost livestock in terms of chickens that they're raising to cats. I can understand that frustration, because that is profit that is now lost. So, it's a really hard, I think, conversation to balance. And I do have my own opinions on it, but at the same time, I can certainly empathize with those that have been directly impacted by cats hunting and killing animals in their yard as well.
Okay. Caller, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for your contribution as well. We're coming up to that point in time for headline news. Dr. Mel, when we return, I know that and of situations here in the Cayman Islands. I can't remember whether or not you may have been involved in it as well. But even our dog population here in the Cayman Islands, there were times when dogs have been taken off the island and have been sent to other jurisdictions, taken there for humane reasons, or persons just because of their attraction to them. We saw the same thing with the donkeys in Turks and Caicos, where they were sent to various other, some were sent to other jurisdictions as well. Is it possible that there may be an interest in some jurisdictions in terms of cats as well? Maybe we can talk about that when we return, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after headline news.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Cayman Finance's Financial Services Breakfast Briefing was held Tuesday morning in New York City. Team Cayman was represented by the Financial Services Minister, the Managing Director of SEMA, and Cayman's new representative at the Cayman Washington office, Chris Duggan. Olaf Scholz is addressing German MPs after confirming his country will send Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine. The Chancellor said Germany will send 14 tanks and give permission for other countries to send theirs too. Addressing MPs, he urged Germans who are worried about the move to, quote, trust me, insisting the decision is, quote, the right one. It follows weeks of international pressure from Kyiv and its allies to approve the export of the German-made tanks. U.S. President Joe Biden's administration is also expected to announce plans to send at least 30 of the advanced combat vehicles. President Volodymyr Zelensky believes his country needs at least 300 battle tanks to defeat Russia. Russia's ambassador in Washington has warned that any deliveries of U.S. tanks would be a, quote, blatant provocation. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning is Dr. Mel Moore Fernandez, Haha, and Lorna's daughter. I'm going to keep referring to that. Keep it local. We're going to keep it very local. Those of you, we want to thank those who have called in so far. If you want to call in, if you have any comments, some of you may have been school friends with Dr. Mel. Feel free to call in as well. Dr. Mel is here in Cayman specifically. She was here for her dad, Alan Moore, Haha's birthday, which was on Monday the 23rd. We had a nice gathering at Lord Graham's house, for Haha as well. And many of us got the opportunity to speak about him, to express our feelings about him as well. And his children, they were all there, as well. So she's going to be leaving tomorrow. Those of you who know her, you may not get an opportunity to see her, but you can get the opportunity to speak to her right here on Radio Cayman. Our toll-free numbers 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037, 949-6990. Or you can email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Or if you just want to see her and hear her, you can follow us on YouTube. You do that simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream, or follow us on Facebook as well. We do have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you doing? How are you?
I am recuperating.
That's good. Good.
Mel.
Good morning.
I'm sorry I refer to you as Mel.
Nope, that's fine.
I have known you. I've worked with your dad in the planning department. So you may have known me, or should, because you and Alanis used to be there all the time. Jeffrey Woods. I am so proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm sure you can remember, with the planning department, Dad said, we would go in with the intention to work. But Dad said, I spent more money every day making sure that you went to breakfast and you got fed than doing the work.
I sure do. Especially when the bakery was open, I used to to send everybody to get stuff for you. Yep. With the cat issue, I frequent the Brock, not too often right now because I had health issues, but I have not seen where there's an overpopulation of these cats. And I know my brother has property. As a matter of fact, he has a house toward the lighthouse area. And he's had one or two of the wild cats that he feeds there, and trust me, he has no rodent problem now because of that. And he used to have, he has all kind of plantation up there, you would say, that rodents would eat, like cassava and that kind of thing. And he has none of that issue right now because of those cats. And I don't think if the cats are being fed that they will trouble the booger birds, because I know we feed about 10 or so cats in the Georgetown area, Crew Road, and the chickens come and eat with them. They don't even bother the chickens. Sometimes the chickens will run them away from the food to get it. And we have to stand outside to make sure that they get their food. They're not going to bother, you would say, any prey if they get their food. and we buy the big 50-pound bag of cat food for them. So, I don't know whose right idea it is to get rid of these cats, but it's heartbreaking, to be honest.
Yep, and I agree with you. I really hope after we kind of ignited this conversation this morning that more discussions will be had down the line. Because, as I said, I know we're kind of in a stance right now and we're very biased with the discussion that we are having. So I really do hope that future conversations can be had and that the public could be involved in understanding the necessary need to implement this cull, and that hopefully data can be released as well so that we can have more of an understanding.
Yeah, I hope so, because trust me, it's a cat, you don't own a cat owns you.
I agree.
Let me put it that way. So when you're going to take a cat from outdoors to put him inside, you're trying to put him in prison. Let me put it that way. Because we have a cat here indoors. Mm-hmm. It was from birth, basically. It was indoors, so it don't know outside. That's a different scenario. Mm-hmm. But if you have an outdoor cat or a cat that was outdoor from birth till it's, 2 or 3 years old, it's hard to take that cat and put him indoors. He has to get outside some point at a time. But if he's spayed and neutered, he's not going anywhere.
Okay. Caller?
Anyway, I'll leave you all with that.
Thank you. Thank you very
so
much, caller.
It was nice hearing from you.
Okay. One of our listeners has written in and said, Dear Orrett, there is unfortunately a lot of misinformation out there on the topic of feral cats. It would be helpful to have the DOE on to explain the background and scientific data behind their decisions. They have been recording booba deaths, which are a result of cat predation for many years. It is incorrect to assume just because you don't see cats that they are not there. This issue is highly emotive, and I think would benefit from a more balanced discussion. And I agree to that. As a matter of fact, off air, Dr. Mel asked me the question, well, has anyone from the DOE been on to talk about this? They have never been on my show. I'm not sure whether or not they have been on Talk Today, but that is an excellent suggestion what the person has written in relation to that. But again, it all goes back to, well, if you have the data, provide it to the public, and I'll go back and see if I can find any press releases in terms of what they have said about that, because the more informed the public is in relation to what's happening, then they can certainly gives them an opportunity to have a better understanding, of it. So before we went to our headline news, I spoke about the fact of the possibility, if we have an overpopulation of cats here in the Cayman Islands, rather than euthanizing them, whether or not there are options, outlets whereby they can be sent somewhere else, where they're either wanted or needed.
And I think that is a very interesting question, because like you said, we've done it previously before with dogs.
Yes.
I think the biggest kind of barrier right now with that is that after the pandemic, from the veterinary side of things, we saw an explosion of pets. Everybody wanted cats or dogs. And unfortunately, because things are starting to normalize, a lot of those animals were resurrendered to shelters. So at least in Ontario, all of the shelters and organizations are maxed out and in terms of capacity because of the influx of animals that have been returned. Now, I'm not saying that this isn't something that can be considered for the future, because I do think it's a viable option, seeing as we have done it before previously with dogs, and something that should still be kept on the table. So I'm not sure what that's going to look like further down the line, but it certainly could be an option going forward as well.
Okay. So we know that you have been now roped into the cat situation here in the Cayman Islands, and that really was not the intent, but you were so perceptive because for some reason you knew that it was going to come up and it was going to be the main topic. But we want to talk a little bit more about your experiences, so far as a young veterinarian. You have been to several countries, and I believe there may be plans again to go somewhere. You have worked in the United States as well at certain locations. Talk about your experiences, and we touched upon it earlier. How important the exposure overseas is, as well. But I'm told that we have a caller, so we'll grab the caller first. Give you caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C., and good morning to your young lady there.
Good morning, good morning.
Congratulations with her and her endeavors for the future. May she continue to do well as a Caymanian. I feel much better this morning. I should say she was Cayman Braca, but anyway, she's still a Caymanian. O.C., I heard one thing just now that spurred my attention. I wasn't going to call you, but somebody said something about they went on a trail or saw cats on a parrot reserve trail, and the cats had clippings on their ears, meaning that they were that they had all their shots and everything else. If this is the case, why don't the people capture such these cats, like what a young lady just said, and put them in a shelter, get the cats back up to their systems, fatten them back up, and see if other people would take them in? Because remember now, someone now not got to pay for all the expense of getting those cats shots. Getting all the shots. So that would have been a perfect idea then to get these cats to give to people. But I don't want to peddle you up nothing, O.C., because I'm from here on the Brac, and there are no human living being can tell me that the cats are destroying those boobies. As a young boy, I climbed the highest point of that bluff week after week, collecting boob eggs to take home for my father to make egg punch out of those boob eggs. And we used to go there time after time and find boobies dead, adults and young ones. There was no cats around because there was no roads on the bluff then. No roads. There was no homes up there. So nobody can tell me about cats killing no boobies. I used to work for Marianne on the south side, a rich woman, and I used to take guests on these sightings where I found booby nests. And you would go back and find boobies dead. You know why? Because the mother one gets frustrated with people coming around, and she will beat her wings down on the ground in order to warn you off, and it can hurt her young one. And the next morning when you go back, the young one dead. These kind of things, they need to stop full talking rubbish about killing our cats and look into other things that causing these birds to be found dead. There's no such thing about cats killing no boobies around here, O.C. And just to correct something quickly before I go, there was this gentleman that came on the other talk show, on Sterling Talk Show, John Bothwell.
Okay.
And he has to be one of the most disrespectful people, if you ask me, regarding DOE. I think he's some head department up in there, because he said Cayman Brac has over 100,000 stray cats. O.C., we don't even have that much leaves on trees around here. So he needs to get his act together and cancel out his stupidity on this island and stop making our island look like it is overtaken.
And you're certain that was a figure that he gave?
That Sterling asked him how much wildcats he figures on the island. He said hundreds. He said more. He said thousands. More. Hundreds of thousands sound more like it. How can you give us such a stupid figure? The whole three Cayman Islands doesn't have that much cats. And even if you were just making a joke, do not make them kind of jokes on the radio, because this is our island, and we are not having no cat issue. And I don't care who come from Grand Cayman live here. They can tell me that we have a cat issue. They have a human issue.
Okay.
We have no such thing, O.C.
Before you go, was there any consultations in the BRAC with the people of the BRAC before these decisions were made?
No issues, O.C. People have their cats. in order to keep the rats and things down in the land. I have 9 cats in my yard. They don't come out of my yard.
But did anyone from Department of Environment come up there and meet with the public in any way?
No sort of meeting. And that is what we need. We need some solution to this, because we as the people just can't sit down and make people come and do this thing to our animals, and they might take someone pet from their yard and kill it and call it a stray cat. These kind of things. And especially if they see these cats with the tag on their ear, they are not supposed to be killing those cats. Those cats was paid to be fixed. And that should be against the law. How are they allowing these things to happen, OC? Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much for calling as well. We're going to take a commercial break. We do have a caller in hold, and I have another WhatsApp message that I want to share with you as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
Increase your chances to win during the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Don't miss Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis. Reflections offers you gas for less, and each time you fuel up at Jose's Rubis, you can enter to win weekly prize giveaways, plus the grand prize of a beautiful piece of land in Grand Cayman.
I'm sorry, what?
What did you say? Yes, Double Stamp Tuesdays and Thursdays are back at Jose's. Lower priced fuel, awesome prizes, and your chance to win a $150,000 piece of land. Don't forget, on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Jose's Rubis, you not only get gas for less, you get double stamps to enter to win a $150,000 piece of land in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion. Be entered to win in the Rubis Pure Joy promotion by January 27th.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, we have Dr. Mel Moore, product of the Cayman Islands, the daughter of Mr. Alan Moore Haha and Miss Lorna Walton. So one of our listeners has written in and said, congratulations to Dr. Moore, and I hope that conditions will allow her to return to Cayman in the future. However, do not hold your proverbial breath on that, because more and more young Caymanians are choosing to remain overseas after they complete university or college. Part of this is due to the poor job that is being done by the Education Council as well as the immigration boards. Another important contributor is that the more grants of Caymanian status and permanent residence that are done, the harder the Iron Curtain, quote unquote, Iron Curtain will be for indigenous Caymanians. Yep. Well, you know, part of the blame can be laid at the foot of the our educational system, and whether or not we're doing enough to identify positions and to reserve positions, identify positions for Caymanians. And as far as reserving positions for Caymanians is concerned, that's the other part of it. Now, yeah, you want to blame the immigration boards, and you can do that to a certain extent, but remember now, from the get-go, when work permits are being applied for, they're being applied for by Caymanians or Caymanian entities in the Cayman Islands as well. The government's reluctance, while some people may argue that all jobs are for Caymanians, the reluctance to identify certain positions that work permit applications will not be considered for because they're being reserved for Caymanians, that is also affecting the ability of Caymanians to return to the islands. And you heard Dr. Mel Moore earlier speak about, the fact that, we're a small jurisdiction, only so many services that we can provide now, and the majority of positions, as far as veterinarians are concerned, are held by non-Caymanians. So here's an excellent opportunity and an excellent example of an area that should be reserved for Caymanians. Otherwise, they're going to be, like Dr. Mel Moore decide, and what the caller has written about as well, they're going to decide to stay in another jurisdiction. Some of them may do that simply for additional exposure, but some may do that because the options available to them in the Cayman Islands are either non-existent or limited as well. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to, I'm enjoying the conversation. I don't know if this was mentioned before because I've been having to go in and out, but my husband's relative told me an interesting historical on Booby Key in North Sound, that was once covered with nesting boobies, and probably post-World War II, pre-World War II, the people would go out and they would call it collecting the buds, the baby birds, because they were hungry and that was their food. So we can't judge wiping out that population based on today's standards, but it's still sad that was once such a huge colony, and now I don't know how many boobies go on that island anymore, but it's not covered with nests, I don't believe. So anyways, that past caller talking about making the soup from the eggs was interesting, but then it reminded me of the story of my husband's relative telling me about collecting the baby buds.
Yes.
From Booby Key.
Yeah, and that practice ceased many years ago. I would venture to say from probably the 70s, in the 70s, that practice ceased because there were certain persons who had the skill to hunt them, as well as not everyone were connoisseurs of that particular bird, the young bird at that point in time. But yes, there were stories about one of the ways that they would hunt them was they go into the mangroves, into the trees, and shake down the nest and get the young ones as well. But that practice was discontinued years ago simply because the appetite. Once there was a generational change, the appetite, and pardon the pun, for such, what some people considered a delicacy was no longer there. Okay. So you want any response you want to make to the last caller, or do we want to talk now, about some of your, additional exploit to the various countries that you have been?
Yeah, why don't we talk?
Yeah,
let's talk about some of that.
Okay, sure. Mike is yours.
Yeah, so one of the greatest things about. Do we have a caller?
Oh, we don't have a caller. Let's grab the caller first. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Sorry about that. My apologies. Caller, good morning. Oh, we lost him. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I would say one of the greatest things about growing up on a small island and going abroad is, we're hungry for experiences, we're hungry for opportunities. And one of those opportunities, and my dad, he's told this story countless of times, so if you know him, you probably heard it. I was an intern at one of the kind of big cat sanctuaries in Florida, and I was working under a lady who was previously a drill sergeant. And listen, I think as us Caymanians, we are hard workers and we are dedicated, but this was a new level that I was not expecting. And I'll tell you this because my dad loves this story. I called him and I was crying. I'm like, Dad, I don't know if I can do this anymore. I'm working like 16-hour days. I'm tired. And he says, Melanie, let me tell you something, Melope. He says, Caymanians are not quitters. He said, you go back there, you keep your head high, and you continue to do a good job because Caymanians are not quitters. And that's exactly what I did. And I think that this is so important because in life, not everything is going to be easy. Yep. You're going to be faced with challenges. And if we were to give up after every challenge, we would get nowhere. So that was a big pivotal point for me as a young woman because this was only just the beginning, and trying to navigate through that challenge certainly helped me as to where I am today. So kind of fast forward to when I got into veterinary school, one of the biggest trips that we took was to Thailand and Nepal, where we did veterinary aid work. So it was interesting, experiencing that side of things because we don't understand how lucky and blessed we truly are to live on this island. When you see people that come and have absolutely nothing, and animals that definitely can't get any treatment because vet facilities aren't a thing there, it certainly alters things in the way that you look at them. So I was very grateful to go there and have that exposure and to work directly with the cats and dogs. And thankfully in Thailand, we also worked with some elephants as well in terms of medicating them. But I think it was at that point that it made me realize that community medicine and trying to shatter barriers that prevent people from accessing veterinary care was something that I really wanted to focus on once I graduated.
Okay. And are you heading somewhere in the Pacific soon as well?
Yes. So on February 9th, I'm actually going to the island of Samoa, which I'm very excited about. Their population, I think right now is around 70,000. But they haven't had a veterinarian on island in 3 years. Wow. And that's just, because of a lot of different factors. So it's been very hard. They also suffer from having an influx of stray dogs and cats. So you can only imagine how detrimental that has been for the island. So I will be going there for 2.5 weeks to just volunteer my time, working directly with the community, talking about disease control, and doing a lot of spay and neuter surgeries for them as well to kind of assist them on this. I know something we talked about briefly last time I was on was I went to Poland last year, right when the Ukrainian war began. And that was certainly an eye-opening experience because traveling to provide aid to animals that are in dire need when there's a war, that itself was, definitely challenging and a scary experience. Nonetheless, it was something that I was so grateful that I had the opportunity to experience. When I was there, they transported around 25 dogs out of Ukraine, right where they were bombing and shelling there. And they came to me, and I was the only vet on site that had to examine them. And it was scary in the sense that you have animals that are extremely traumatized and are very reactive. So you have to be careful because they're coming from a country that does have rabies in terms of the care that we provided them. But thankfully, watching them try to reintegrate themselves once they felt safe and being able to medicate and surgically sterilize them, it was a great opportunity to look at the beginning and where they ended up. So just another experience that I'm very grateful that I was able to go abroad and do.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. We have a caller, quick commercial break. When we return, we will take that call, so please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
J and Money touching down again. Now you can send your US dollars at any location on island, including the BRAC. It's easy. Just walk with your US dollars. No need to convert to CI. This is another convenient service available at J and Money. They always find a way to make it easier and hassle-free. So remember, when you need to send your money and you only have US dollars, don't ever think of what to do. Just head straight to any J&M Money location and send your money the fast, convenient, and affordable J&M Money. J&M Money, touching down again. J&M Money, ranga to la friend.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio K-Man.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Dr. Mel Moore, Caymanian, now residing in Canada. Temporarily, I'm going to use that word, temporarily. She did her schooling here in the Cayman Islands, went through our school system here, then went off to Wales,
yes,
to university, then on to Canada to veterinary school. She's broadening her horizons and her experience at the moment, and you've heard some of her travels that have taken place so far and future travels as well. So a daughter of the soil, the daughter of Mr. Alan Haha Moore and Miss Lorna Walton as well. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning,
yes,
Good morning.
Yeah, Mr. O.C., good morning. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Great. Calling from Cameron Brock. This is Tafari.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to talk about this whole cat issue that's going on in Cameron Brock. You know, I like to sit and observe what's going on, what the government is doing here in the Cayman Islands and all that. And, you know, sometimes you have to think, where are they wasting money on a lot of different things? So there's three things that people need. It's just three things. Just keep it simple. You need a house, you need food, and you need water. That's it. So I bought 2 acres on the bluff, and every day parrots are flying over.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, what do parrots need to conserve them more in the Cayman Islands? And I found out that what they need is more housing. Housing as in protection from hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
What would protect the parrots more is if you have cavities inside of trees,
mm-hmm.
you know, little holes in trees where they can be protected from the elements, you know, rain and all that.
Yep.
So what's the difference with the booby birds? The booby birds need a place for shelter. They need a place that they can be protected and have food and water.
Reproduce, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with the cats, too. So why is it a problem that, you know, why they can't just buy a piece of land and have it conserved for the booby birds? You know, fence it off or whatever to keep the birds nice and protected, that they can lay the eggs, that nothing bothers or anything. What they gotta go around killing the cats for?
Mm-hmm. But would you, if you were to designate an area for the boobies to go, would they necessarily go there, or are they going to gravitate towards their natural habitat, where it is that they deem fit to lay their eggs or whatever?
Yeah. But then, you know, the Cayman Island has a problem too with, well, I should say Cameron Brock has a problem with housing.
Mm-hmm.
People can't find nowhere to rent.
Mm-hmm.
People can't find, everybody has to be living with their families. They have to be renting, and nowhere is affordable.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Why is government spending money on unnecessary things that, the three things I mentioned, housing, food, and water?
Mm-hmm.
They're spending things on things that people do not need. I see up by the football field, they made this big structure. You know, I was thinking, okay, maybe they might be making housing, affordable houses for people that Caymanians can afford. But yet, I come to find out they made an indoor sports complex, as in a basketball court. That building could hold, well, that can house 20 families if they wanted to. But yet, they're building a basketball field.
So you're saying that some of the priorities and came on back there misplaced priorities.
Yes, you can't find nowhere to rent whatsoever. You can't find nowhere that's affordable. You can have two Caymanian parents who work in very good jobs. They can't even afford that. That's not right. You know, the only people that can afford things down here is foreigners that they can come here and buy things in cash.
Yeah.
So, you know, back to the whole thing with the booby birds and the cats and the parrots. Focus on them three things: housing, food, and water. I don't see why they have to complicate things. They have to go out there and kill the cats and this and that. You know, just find some way to provide housing, a place of shelter for the booby birds, the parrots, and us Caymanians, you know.
Yeah.
They need to do something.
We're becoming extinct as well.
Yes, look at it like that. Yes, we need to conserve ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's the point I wanted to make.
Thank
you.
you.
The government, they just overcomplicate things. They need to keep it simple. Food, house, and water. Keep it simple.
Thank you very much, caller, for that, Doctor.
Have a good day.
You too, Dr. Mel. Want to comment?
You know, I did wonder as well in terms of financial and allocating monies for this in terms of the resources that needed to be used. But as I said, you know, I'm purely speaking from a biased standpoint. I would love to hear what the Department of Environment has to say about this. So I will open the floor for them in the future to kind of give the public the answers that they need, because I don't want to wrongfully give my opinion on something that I don't have all the facts for. But it was something, caller, I did question as well. So hopefully in the future we will have that answer.
Okay. Now, people, Dr. Mel, sometimes accuse us of trying to copy and borrow things from other jurisdictions as well. But maybe the combination of the booby and the cats may be unique to the Cayman Islands. But are there any international organizations or international best practices that we could borrow from to address this situation that we're facing now?
Good question, and absolutely. So something that I'm looking at pursuing is, so I'm in shelter medicine and community medicine. You can actually get a board specialization for that. And there are very few board specialists for shelter medicine in Ontario and Canada as a whole. And I'm grateful to have one of them as my mentor, Dr. Amelia Gordon. So her focus is looking at communities, doing research such as trap and releasing feral cat populations. And I think reaching out and tapping into those resources where people have the knowledge and information already would be very beneficial to help us decide where to go with this. I certainly don't think that culling is the answer, but I feel like reaching out for international support for people that have done research in many different areas could be very beneficial for our small island going forward.
Excellent. Thanks for that advice. Hopefully somebody in the official end is listening, because Dr. Mel Moore returns to Canada tomorrow. But before she leaves, we will give you her contact information as well, because it is quite obvious that, you know, we're divided on this whole issue. And before we all need to sit around the table, discuss it, and come to a solution that makes everyone, to a certain extent, happy as well. Caller on the line. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning to you and your panel.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks. I am listening keenly to what is being said about the stray dogs and cats, and maybe other animals as well. I might get off on the deep end a little bit when I see that we're sending our cats, or dogs actually, it could be cats too, to the United States of America, saying that they're in such good homes and all sorts. In one specific state in the United States, they have over 1 million stray dogs and cats. Now, this is a Caymanian problem about our cats and dogs. Like when you just mentioned shortly, why can we sit down around the table and find our own solution? Why do we have to go to international control units or whatever they call themselves to see what we should do? You know what? We can do it. But again, we're looking at the cats and dogs. Why the Department of Environment cannot look into the manure that the horses are spreading along the street, especially in my area where you got chickens picking it up and all sorts, flies and all kind of maybe diseases that would be contacted or contracted from that sort of thing. Why don't we have somebody that take our interests seriously at heart? Secondly, if you look again, we're talking about the chickens and so on. They should take a few minutes to come on air and explain what we are consuming about what I call these blue-boned chickens they're bringing in here, that they're 3 weeks old, they're 5 and 6 pounds. Let's get real. Let's tell our own population what we consume and that is not healthy. Tell us to start producing our own crops, our own chickens, our own cattle more in abundance, and natural resources that we have should be utilized. I am so unhappy with what I hear, and nothing against the lady, because with all due respect, but this thing is going too far. It's gone too far. This bureaucracy act that we have in here that is really gobbling us up and trying to make us believe, well, it has to come from foreign to decide that what we need to do. I don't think that is right. We have enough people here with the knowledge that can control the cats and dogs. And I might make you laugh, but the cats and dogs, they're Caymanians too. Okay? We can bring them from all over the world, all kind of old different breeds of cats and dogs. We don't know where they are. Yet, we see our cats and dogs that is left here unattended, which should be laws in place that is fully enforced, that you make sure that you take care of your cat or your dog. That should be. So it is really disheartening to see what's happening to our beautiful little island when it comes to these sort of things. So
okay,
that's my little piece for today, and thank you so much, and both of you have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. I'm going to try to do this before we go to our next commercial break, because Ms. Susan, what we're going to do, if we have no calls, we're going to close the lines off so that we can have some closing comments from Dr. Mel as well. But this is an article, Dr. Mel, from Cayman News Service. This is on the 20th of January of this year. Feral cat cull underway near booby bird nests on the Brack. And it says, in response to the number of brown booby birds that have been killed recently on the southwest shoreline of Cayman Brack, the feral cat and rodent cull that began last week around the lighthouse area on the bluff in the eastern end of the island will be expanded to include this high-density pocket of nesting birds. Property owners around the new control area will be contacted, and officials will work with domestic cat owners to chip and register pets before the control efforts begin. All captured cats will be scanned, and those with identifiable owners will be returned. The Department of Environment, which is managing the control programs in partnership with the Department of Agriculture, said cat owners are responsible for controlling the movement of their pets under the alien species regulations and are urged to keep them safely indoors as far as possible, especially at night when cats are known to hunt more actively. While the cull has stirred up some controversy, the threat now posed to the survival of the Brack's brown booby population is so great that there is no alternative. According to DOE, the control program will be maintained for some time due to the number of feral cats on the island. Studies have shown that as feral cats are removed from a specific area, others from a wider range will move into the space looking for food. As such, the pressure in this area will not ease on these birds, and trapping efforts will need to continue throughout the brown booby nesting season to give them a chance for breeding successfully, the DOE said. The traps are baited. It talks about the traps and stuff. Now, earlier someone spoke about figures. So this, and this, remember, is from the 20th of January. The number of nights that this observation was done, 7 nights. The feral cats trapped and euthanized were 5. The number of black rats trapped were 14. And the non-target specific species in traps were none. They caught the ones that were non-targeted. They didn't catch any at all. So that was some of the figures, and you can go back. I'm sure you will when time allows to read the article as well. So we're going to take our last commercial break. When we return, Dr. Mel, we're going to go over everything and give you an opportunity for some closing comments as well. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
So much happening, so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners, now using the most popular and eco-friendly cleaning solvents. 2 convenient locations to serve you: Savannah Countryside and Eastern Avenue, Georgetown. Drive-through, rain or shine, free pickup and delivery services available. Call Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. Also ask about our in-house discounts. Puritan Cleaners, you feel good when you look good.
Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. That's 949-7104. Tune in Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. for the Daily Sports Report, covering local, regional, and international sports. Proudly brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
The application deadline for Education Council Overseas Scholarships for the 2023-2024 academic year is Tuesday, 31st of January 2023. To apply for an Education Council Overseas Scholarship or learn more about the various scholarship programs before the deadline, please visit the Ministry of Education's scholarship application portal at www.moescholarships.gov.ky or email the Scholarship Secretariat Unit at scholarships@gov.ky. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. Before I hand the mic back over to Dr. Mel, I want to share a few WhatsApp messages. This one says, OC, my heart is full as I listen to Dr. Mel Moore, who is the next generation Moore citizen of note, using the footprints of a gentleman, a patriot, a dad in Alan Moore. We all are so blessed to have him as a son of the soil. Mel, the best is yet to come as you reach forward to clear your path. Alan Moore remains one of our heroes, a father of trade schools in the Cayman Islands as well. So, and I know you want to respond to the last caller as well, Doc.
So I think the last caller brought up some interesting points. One being that the issue that we have in Cayman is certainly unique. Now, I just want to reemphasize that by reaching out to get resources from international parties, I think that there's a difference between looking at third parties internationally to be a part of the decision-making process compared to looking at third parties internationally being the decision makers. Now, I think the decision needs to be solely with the parties affected, the government, the veterinarians on island. However, I think that gathering research and data from those that have faced similar issues abroad is imperative to help with that decision-making process. So I'm not saying that it is needed for someone else to come in and make the decisions that haven't solely experienced what's going on here, but I think that there's a value that comes in from having an external party give their research and give their experiential knowledge to this situation as well. And, you know, I've been kind of reiterating and saying that a discussion needs to be had, but I think it's important, especially with all the parties affected. So we know that there's the DOE. We know that the veterinarians on island are affected in terms of their license and how they can practice medicine. We know that the general public is affected by this. And we also know that the cats are affected by this as well. The cats don't have a voice, so we rely on advocacy group like Feline Friends to also give their input as well. So I really hope a conversation in the future will be had and we can get the answers that we deserve if this is going to be something that is going to be implemented. And I know we were talking off the air just about the article. And something I thought was really interesting, and quote me on the statistics again, but I think they said that they trapped 5 cats in the span of 7 days.
Yep.
And was it
feral cats trapped and euthanized? 5. Yes.
And then was it 15
rats? 14 black rats trapped.
So 5 cats to 14 black rats. So that's almost triple the amount of cats that were caught. So is this actually a rodent issue and not a cat issue? You know, so as I said, we certainly need answers from the community perspective, and hopefully we will get that. But these are just certainly questions that I also have, as well as the general public has also shared with us as well.
Okay, so we have about 7 minutes left.
Okay.
You spoke earlier in your introduction, you know, about young Caymanians talking to you, wanted advice and guidance and stuff. Let's talk a little bit about that. What advice would you give to young Caymanians either seeking to enter the field of veterinary science or veterinary medicine or other fields as well? What do you say to them as far as their educational foundation, their preparation? What do you say to them about exposure, international exposure? And what do you say to them, you know, about following their passions?
So number one is find yourself a good mentor. We do have some great Caymanian veterinarians here that love to mentor Caymanians. You know, I always give Dr. Brenda my high regards because she is a big part of why I'm here right now. It is certainly a difficult journey, but it's not impossible. And through education and putting in that hard work and dedication, you can certainly achieve the grades that you need to achieve. Something I also want to tell young Caymanians is it's not easy when you go into a homogenized field that is mainly white people, Caucasian background. You coming in, especially me as a young black female, there certainly poses its own challenges. The area that I work in, I would say 99% of my clients are white. And in Canada right now, they're still doing the data, but I would say we found out that there's less than 1% of black veterinarians practicing in all of Canada. So we are certainly a very small marginalized community. Nonetheless, coming from such a small island, being a Black woman, we face a different amount of challenges than people abroad. And, you know, with those different barriers, there's certainly, I think it makes it a little bit more complex in terms of pursuing a career in veterinary medicine. And this is why I think mentorship is so important, because having somebody that has gone through those lived experiences to provide you with that support, I think is extremely imperative on that journey. I want to tell our young Caymanians one thing. It may not always be easy, but it's not impossible. I've had so many failures on my journey, so many failures, and I've always been transparent about that. But the number one thing I say to people is fail your way to success, because that is exactly what I did. It was a hard journey, and I've had many failures. I failed exams. I failed so many things, but I never gave up. And I also want to really give my parents the credit that they deserve, because they've been right there with me. So young Caymanians listening out there that want to go into this field of medicine and help animals, just know that it is possible. Just know that for me, it's not been easy, but just know that you can do it, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If you can dream it, you can make it happen.
Yeah. What about job opportunities in Canada? I don't believe that you had any difficulty at all finding a job once you graduated. How was the process? Did they try to recruit you while you were in school as well? Do you have recruiting persons from various businesses coming to the school as well, or how does it work?
So the situation in Canada and the U.S. right now is very interesting in terms of veterinarians. We are facing a massive veterinarian shortage, and everybody is in need of a veterinarian right now. So before I even graduated, I had 5 job offers.
Oh, wow.
And I still continually have clinics reaching out to me on my social media, LinkedIn. There's a desperate need for veterinarians right now. So it's a very interesting dynamic, having that job security and being so in need as a profession, because as I said, everybody got an animal during the pandemic. And because of veterinary medicine and mental health, we unfortunately have a very high suicide rate, and we've lost a lot of vets. Vets are retiring at a very high rate. So it's kind of further contributing to that shortage that we are now facing. So job-wise, it's very interesting, because there's certainly no shortage of jobs for us there. And I also wanted to touch on this as well. I know we're running out of time, but everyone, my biggest thing is I always want to return home one day. That is my goal. But I also want to be transparent in my decision to go abroad and stay abroad right now. This profession and having the government scholarship to provide me with the financial aid was fantastic, but I also had to take out a personal loan. So I'm now 6 figures in debt from school that I need to pay off. And unfortunately, just with the expenses, I can't afford to live here and pay off my debt as well. Nonetheless, going abroad,
unless we decide to write it off, of course.
I'll put that out there. And obviously, with going abroad, you do have those experiences. So something that I'm very passionate about is surgery and being able to fine tune my surgical skills, so I can go to different communities like Samoa, like Poland, and be able to provide low cost surgeries for the animals that are in need. So I'm just trying to capitalize on all those experiences right now and trying to better myself, so that when I do return home, I can certainly be an asset to our community.
Yeah, and you touched on that, and I had asked that question before. What are the horizons like in terms of veterinary medicine? You mentioned, you want to be more involved and more proficient in surgery and stuff like that. What can be the ultimate, as far as veterinary medicine is concerned?
So, aside from the agricultural standpoint, you do have small animal medicine. You do have research, which is a very big thing, especially right now with COVID-19. Zoonotic diseases, so animals that can transmit diseases onto humans, is a very big area of research. You can also just do consulting, just telehealth consulting as well. So if you didn't want to even work in a clinic, there's that for you. There's some different aspects of the government jobs that you can get. So I feel if you can dream it, there's certainly a job for you in veterinary medicine, wherever that be. And before we close out, I just wanted to give a few shout outs.
Sure.
So Amelia is one of my technicians back at home. And I just wanted to say hi and thank you for watching. And to my Brights Grove Animal Hospital team, Donna, who's the director of the Sarnia Humane Society back home. Thank you for watching. I miss you guys, and I will see you at Friday when I'm back.
Excellent. Want to say to you, safe travels, as well. And we know you'll keep in touch. And if there's something that you want to articulate, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 to 10, we have well, the toll-free number wouldn't work from overseas, Miss Susan, right? But, if you call us, we can arrange to call you back so that all the costs don't fall on you as well. But excellent. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Ebanks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's